I'm going to do a video today about something that's kind of unusual, and what this video is going to be on is actually taking a look at this hood liner. So normally the hood liner in most cars, if you're doing some kind of restoration work or whatever, they're available, and you would probably want to try and find a hood liner that fits a car. But I'm working on a rare car, which that's not what this video is about. It's about actually being able to do something with this hood liner. So we have searched and searched and searched, cannot find a repop for this hood liner. Um, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to yank it off, and I'm going to do, like I've done stuff like this before, with interior stuff and whatever. This is no different, but I'm going to reconstruct this thing because the video isn't about how rare this car is. Um, it's just about doing some soft material work, and so I'm going to fix this underhood liner, which will be a bit of a challenge just because it's a big liner and trying to get rid of seams and so on in it. But I have to fix this, and mice decided that they were going to live in it, which kind of destroys it. And with how rare this car is and whatever, it's going to be worth it to reconstruct this.
Okay, hood liner is out on the bench. Now, upon first inspection, whatever, there's a couple things that we need to note. A lot of the modern vehicles, they have like a fiberglass backer or whatever, but this is actually just a pressed insulation piece. So it's really soft and moves around. And when I'm done with this, it's going to be a little bit stiffer than what it is, because I'm actually going to I'm going to use, this is fiberglass, like a fiberglass insulation. And usually when you work with it, you do get it itchy. So I'm sure this is just a pressed fiberglass piece. But to start with, to start this whole thing, we need to clean it. So it has some oil in here, some oil back here. I don't know what this is from because there was no real leaks on the car. But anyway, this thing has no kilometers on it, but it needs to be cleaned, as well as the mouse crap needs to be cleaned off. And we have to get this new insulation stuff to stick to it. Now, my first thought on this, I could do it a few different ways. I can use fiberglass, I can melt it, I can do all that to get it in here. But what I think I'm gonna do is clean it up really good first. And I am probably going to use underfloor liner for this. And I'm probably going to put, I'm probably going to be using glue and some wire and stuff in it. And then once we have the shape all made, then I am going to be covering this with felt. So we'll just use some thin felt. It isn't going to look exactly stock factory, because it isn't going to be this fibrous top that is multicolor and growing hair. It's going to look like a very close liner to this, and it'll be a great repop for what we can get, which is nothing. So doing this, I mean, it's labor intensive. It's going to be, a lot of time to do it, but I'm going to clean it up. And we'll get rid of the oil, we'll vacuum it out, and then we will get to work on it. We meaning me, but I like to talk like we are. So let's get to work. So it's kind of funny what I'm going to be doing. I don't recommend you to do this. So I'm going to vacuum this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take brake clean, which is extremely flammable. And I'm going to spray it on here, and I'm going to vacuum it out. So I'm gonna be putting these vapors into the air and into an electric motor. I have this little shop vac that I've had for years. It's just a little junker. And this is my shop vac for cleaning out engines and fuel tanks and everything. So never had it blow up on me yet, but wouldn't that be something if it blew up on YouTube? That'd be a pretty cool video. I think it'd go viral. So I'm actually gonna do the vacuuming first. So I'm not sure what's stuck on the back there. It looked kind of oil. It didn't put anything on my fingers, but I think it's actually undercoating from maybe when they undercoated something. There is definitely oil up in that top corner right here. But you don't want to go and vacuum this whole thing. You're going to have a furry mess. So you only want to vacuum the parts that are really like where there's junk that you can see is laying on top of it that is going to cause the glue not to want to stick. So I'm going to be using spray glue. I love spray glue on this. But this is really soft, so if you are abusing it, like if you took air and blew it off, whatever, you would have these fibers going everywhere. So all you want to do is clean the top off, because the spray glue that we're going to be using on this to do the repairs and everything, I might put a fiberglass resin over top to bond some of it and sand some of that smooth, and also hold some shape to it. But yeah, you don't want to just go crazy with this thing, because it's going to vacuum itself apart if you do it. So this shape we need to copy, so we need to keep it. So just so you can see, where I haven't sprayed with the brake clean, it's just like a gooey oil. So got to keep dealing with that. The palm of the hand there, it's dry. I'm not getting any sheen off it anymore. So that's as far as I want to go. And I'm not giving you permission to spray a flammable chemical and vacuum it up. That is not what I'm doing here. So don't do that at home. This is a magic show. So that's a magic vacuum. So what I'm going to do, I am going to grab some underhood liner, and we're going to make some puzzle pieces, and then we'll probably use a little bit of resin and so on to glue it in place. And then we want to make sure that, you know, it's clean enough. Everything in here is looking clean. No oil, there's no heavy stuff, because the glue is going to soak right into these fibers. And then the felt that I'm going to actually use a fabric, felt fabric that is going to go right over top of this, and it is going to also get sprayed with glue. So when we put it on here, we're going to be able to iron out all of these little pieces, and we'll do that together. So I'm just going to pull this over so that it can be seen better. But so this is jute. This is automotive under carpet liner. And it's a very fibrous material as well. And it's very flexible. It's more flexible than this pressed stuff. It's been pressed and heated. The bottom of this, I mean, I brushed it off. I'm not really gonna be too concerned about the bottom of it, other than it fits the ribs of the hood. So we gotta be careful of that. But I'm gonna be taking and pulling this apart, layering it into the spots that we need for correct thickness and so on. The one warning when you're using jute, you may as well buy a box of fresh blades because, man, cutting this just destroys knife blades. So I'm going to get with it. So I'm just shaving the corners off to make a contour to the actual shape of the hole in here. I want to leave as much original stuff in as I can because that is giving us the shape. And we don't want to see the shape of the new stuff we put in or of the old stuff difference wise. So that's why we're going to use some resins and so on to get this shape in. And there's no way that factory would have used that resin in there like they do on new vehicles, because this is just a soft piece. So they obviously used a different technique of how they do things. So these little tiny pieces, there's some grooves in here. Literally, I'm not doing this permanent right now, but I'm just looking that I have enough stuff because I'm gonna glue this in. So I just use a 3M adhesive and these got nice sprayers and everything on them. Obviously this one's kind of bit it. I'm gonna have to open a new can. Now that's gonna suck getting off. So the fabric's soaking this up so nice. And your hands are going to be wrecked after this. Yeah, I should probably be wearing gloves, but I've done it a lot, and by the time you're done, the gloves are just like everything is just wrecked, and you go through so much stuff. I'll probably use some harsh chemicals to clean my hands after. Don't do that. Make sure you wear gloves when you're doing this. So I have that to the point where the thickness of the felt would probably cover that in pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work at this whole piece. I am gonna glove up because my hands are already getting nasty full. This stuff sticks good. I'm gonna get everything in place. Not sure if you can hear the rain outside. It's rainy. Which, it's fall. I have mixed up resin and I have this all shimmed up with 2x4s and shims. And what I'm gonna be doing, because this is stiff, this is really floppy, I am going to be, I'm using a stir stick because I just kind of want to pour it on how I want it. And then any of the spots that I need, like this is gonna stiffen things up. So it's really gonna soak in, this is gonna get it hard. And then what I can do is in low spots and so on, I have some shredded jute that I can put in there to make up gaps and so on. And then anywhere where it should run or could run through, I have paper underneath it. And so this is it. We're gonna stiffen it up with this, and then when this is dry, we'll be able to, like, even if you wanted to make up spots, you could use body fill or whatever, because this will be sandable. This jute is taking a lot. I wonder if I maybe give it a little spray paint first, because this jute is really drinking the resin. And this one didn't have a gap under it, so, or is somewhere where it can seep through. So there's no paper under it, but it's soaking right through this jute. So this is a little different jute than I'm used to, so I'm gonna have to get some paper under it. Gonna be great. So I'm just gonna carry on, get the rest of this done. So I have the fiberglass resin that I was using all on it, and I am just throwing a little jute in the low spots, and it's kind of soaking it up real nice. I just don't want to have any high lows or anything like that in here that we have to do a whole bunch of work. It'd be really nice if we could just knock some high stuff off it and use a little filler here and there to even the whole thing out. So anyway, it's going really good. It's going to be a nice piece when this is done. It's holding the shape extremely well. It's got so many neat contours in this. It's kind of like sculpting with clay, I don't know, with jute. And it's pretty enjoyable. I still have to mix up some more resin for this one spot here. So far in this liner I have about 2 liters of resin that I've used. So that's gonna be a spot there. So yeah, fiberglass, you definitely are wearing gloves. And pretty stinky stuff when it's curing, so you want to make sure that you're protected when you're doing this. My fans are on, and the makeup air out there, and it's sucking all the fumes out in the CNC room out there. All right. Mix up some more resin, carry on. Here is the patchwork underhood liner. I mean, this thing had a lot of issues, whatever. So I have it all rigged up, glued in. We're gonna have to trim the edges and paint this stuff. But before we do that, it's really flexible and was nice to work with. I'm not gonna need to put any wire in it, which I thought I would to get some of the shapes. But now what I'm gonna do is I have to make it so that I can shape this a little better, because a lot of this stuff, well, I guess this is just sitting on top, but a lot of this stuff isn't the exact contour. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw some fiberglass resin on it. I don't know if I'm gonna use any actual cloth, fiberglass cloth, but I may have to. I'm gonna fill it in with that fiberglass, let it cure up, and then I will be able to actually sand down some of this into the correct contour. Now you wanna be very careful with it when you're doing it, but I'll just set the camera up and do some. The fiberglass is cured up and it is hard, and nothing about this has to be fancy. So I just have a flap wheel and a grinder, and all I have to do is knock off the high spots. dust is pretty nasty. So that to me was the easiest part of the job, knocking the high spots off. Some of the soft material from underneath is coming through, but it doesn't matter. It's just gonna push down when we glue the next layer on. So now it's, I'll prop that side back up again, but it's gonna be a vacuum and clean this up and get it ready for glue. And then we're gonna be putting the cover on it. So it's as clean as I can get it. And this material isn't the normal material that I get. I'm gonna give it a try. It's a felt material, but I don't know how it's gonna handle the heat. If it doesn't handle the heat well, we'll have to pull it back off the car and get some different material. I'm not sure what I'll have to do, but the reason I went with this is because it is big enough to cover the entire thing without a seam in it. So, I mean, this is as clean as I can get it. And what I want to do is, I'm going to go and blow myself off first, I think. I'm going to lay this felt out. Not sure what orientation we're going here with it yet. That looks right. So, of course, this is looking a lot nicer than what this would have from the factory. But what do you do? I really wish we could have got a repop one. It would have looked really period correct. But this is what we got, and this is what we're going to do with it. So it's actually nice material. It should look pretty fibrous. It's just blacker than normal. Maybe I'll try and get some staining on it or something. But okay, so there's really defined lines in this now. And so I have it laid out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it back and I'm gonna target these main defined lines with glue and a little ways out. And then we're gonna work these in to those lines so that it keeps the contour. Now, of course, there's, other contours and stuff, but if you look at this, it's just hiding everything. So that's what we're gonna do, is we are gonna, together here, work on the gluing of this. And now when you're gluing it, you're gonna wanna be very careful you're not getting glue on top of that. So you only spray in one direction. I ran out of the other glue, so I am using super trim adhesive, and it says that it'll work on this as well. I've never used this for this, but it's what we're going with. It is made by 3M, and I ran out during the process, and so I glued some of these in with it, and it was beautiful stuff. So. So I am gonna just work on this main midsection here. And then when I'm putting it on, I don't really want to focus at all, and it's okay to use some glue up. We got another can. It's okay with this, but when you're gluing it on, you don't really want to focus on the spots that you don't want showing up. You want to focus on the spots you want showing up. So I'm going to pull this tight, and we'll lay it on, and then I'm going to pull it back that way a little bit. Because we're going to be rolling this around to get the glue on the back of this and where we want it. So yeah, this is going to be perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so now I want to, in those spots, push it in so that that glue is sticking in there. Now there's a couple little detail spots where there's retainers on the bottom of the hood that this goes into, and I'm just gonna work it into those retainer spots, and then I am gonna, oh, that glue's better than I thought. I thought I could peel it back. But it's already, that is bonded. Whew. So there's the one profile, and that is in there. Wow, that looks great. Okay, so I guess we go to the next section. Yeah, I like that. So I am going to put a little extra glue on this. I'm just going to keep working this around, and we will catch up when it's on. So as it's going on, I've got that part of it all glued over there. We're just going to work at these nice profile edges, and we want to make sure that we're keeping the felt tight as we do it. So this has another profile line in there, a little faded one, just like over here. So now I have all the factory lines in this thing, and if you look here, it looks really ugly. Well, there's a huge hole under here. I'm not real happy with this one spot, but I actually don't think it's gonna matter. It looks pretty good. Just has one little high spot. I should have taken it down. It's too late, I can't get in there now without wrecking it. So next step is gonna be clean the table off. And I'll lift this to the side. Once the table's all cleaned off, then I can turn it over and trim the holes. Now, some of the holes were gone, but I can measure the bottom of the hood to figure out where all the holes go. And then we will stick it under the hood of the car. Be nice if I could totally finish this. This takes a little while, like you have to wait for stuff to dry and so on. So this is the second day. I'd love to get it done tonight. I just don't think I can be. Well, I'm gonna go for it, but I don't have all the retaining clips for this. So I have enough to get it underneath the hood, but there's still gonna be more coming. The just shipment hasn't come in yet. So anyway, I'll see. You know what? It's gonna be fine to put it on under there because this glue is holding like magic. So I'll clean the table. The table's cleaned off. And this is glued on good. So by the back, don't really care. So all I'm gonna do now is take and there's one spot that didn't get enough glue right here. I'm just inspecting it really good. Any sides or anything, I'm gonna take and trim up if I need it. It doesn't look like I will. This one spot I gotta cut some out because there's some braces under the hood and this spot is a little thick there. So gotta cut that out. But the rest of this, it doesn't matter. No one's ever gonna see the bottom of this. So I'm just gonna take and fold over and glue this on, and then I'm gonna take and make some holes. When I go to making the holes, we'll carry on with the video. Early on, I worked in a starter alternator repair shop, and I need a really good soldering iron for brushes. And I used this for many years and got some good stories about the soldering iron. I don't know, it is probably 30 years old. Yeah, I would say 30 years old. And I soldered a lot of wire with this, but kind of don't do a whole bunch of soldering on wiring anymore. Everything is crimped, but it works absolutely excellent to put holes through. With the camera here, to put holes through where all the clips go. So I'll of course turn it over and tune all these up nice, but the push pins on this are really big, but just beautifully burns holes through. So I am gonna get all the holes in this.
Wow, that was a really fun job. This thing was totally destroyed. It was ratchet. I mean, there's a lot of hours in it with all the patchwork and everything that needed to be done, but look, you know, you can take junk and you can make something good out of it. I had to have it lit up there so that you can see the contours and everything. All the factory contours are in it. It looks smooth, you know, and it's a rare car. It was worth the time to put in it. There's some serious time in this thing. But I hope that this inspired you guys and gals to go out and work on your cars. I mean, creativity, time, and I don't know, I just love my job. And I just hope that you love this video enough to hit the subscribe, like, and share buttons. So if you wouldn't mind, check out the other videos and help me out with checking them out. So thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.